Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Mitch Bell, United States, actually Captain Mitch Bell, American Airlines, but Lieutenant Colonel retired with the United States Marine Corps. And today it is my honor on Tall Tales with Taco on Tuesday to be with Don Graves. He was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps in 1945 and fought on the Battle of Iwo Jima, which is near and dear to a lot of us Marines as we go through life, and we always read the history. And today we're going to have a little talk with Don. He's going to tell us about his life, tell about when he joined the Marine Corps at 17, and some of his experiences. So without further ado, I'm going to push the camera just a little over to Don to get more of him and sit back. Don, why don't you tell us, how old were you when you actually joined? Because I remember you at a speech said you quit high school at 16.
Yeah, I was 16 when I heard President Roosevelt take us into the war, and couldn't get in, so I had to stay out another 6 months. And then I went back after I turned 17. Everything went fine, and I took off for the United States Marine Corps. But something I want to do before this, if I can. Mm-hmm. People are talking today about what is the difference between the generations of young men today and our generation. Why was it that we walked out of school and we ran to the induction centers? There's such a difference. And it could have been that we were a bunch of kids that had nothing. And if we had something, we had to earn it. We had to work for it. That's what we were told. Or you don't go anywhere. You don't do anything. That's it. It's up to you. And that's what we had to do. So here I was 16 years old, the three of us in a car out in Detroit, Michigan. And it is the 8th of December. And it is cold. And we love the big bands. Mm-hmm. And we had blanket around us and our jackets and our hats. And we're listening to the big bands. Then all of a sudden, the operator came on and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt the broadcast. The President of the United States is going to address the nation." And Mr. Roosevelt came on, our hero. And this is what he said. "Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked upon by the naval and armed forces of the Empire of Japan. A state of war has existed between the Japanese Empire and the United States of America. I interpret the will of Congress and of the people. We shall gain triumphant victory, so help us God." And we did. We did.
How did you memorize that?
Pardon?
How long did it take you to memorize that?
Oh, gosh. I went on, got a recording. There was a recording a couple of weeks after that, and it was 38 cents a deck of recording.
Wow. And
I played it until I got it down, and I kind of used it off and on in the clubs when I did it, but yeah.
Did you ever do that in front of your Marines, do the imitations?
Oh, yes.
Could you imitate any of your officers?
Huh?
Could you imitate any of your officers?
No, I couldn't. No, I really couldn't. No.
You could, you just didn't do it, right?
I tried, I suppose. I did a lot of Hollywood actors. I was a character. I was a Hollywood buff. I lived in the theaters. Every Friday after grade school, they would go out to the farm or the lake, my family. They'd all be in the car, and of course, I'm out in the alley in Detroit, looking through the garbage when they throw the broken film out, and I'd find these film and look at them like that in the daylight, in the sun, I'd look at them like that. Some were Tom Mix, Ken Maynard, all of these early cowboys, Hoot Gibson, and I'd save them. After a while, I learned how to make stink bombs. Well, they would yell, Donnie, Donnie, come on, quick, get in the car, we're going to the farm. I'd run down the alley, jump in, and away we'd go.
well, the Marines turned you away for about 6 months, right? So
after he got done speaking, the president, I said to my two buddies, I said, tomorrow morning I'll skip school. I'm going down and join up in the Marine Corps. I was 6. 3 of us were 16.
You're close to 17, though.
Pardon?
You're what, 6 months from being 17?
6 months to go. Yeah. And so I got up in the morning and I told my siblings, my 2 sisters and my brother, don't say nothing to Mom about this.
Mm-hmm. Did they?
No.
Oh, wow.
Well, I got home before they got out of school. That was the problem. I took off downtown Detroit, went up in the federal building, 4th floor, and the sergeant met me, a gunny sergeant met me at the doorway. He said, young man, what can I do for you? And I said, I want to join up. He said, how old are you? I said, 16. He said, can't do it. We can't take you. When are you going to be 17? I said, in 6 months. He says, come back in 6 months. I'll give you the paperwork and we'll see what we can do. I said, yes, sir. And he gave me the paperwork. I ran all the way back home, about a mile. Ran in the back door of the house and forgot I skipped school. I was so excited. And my mother met me. She said, what are you doing home? And I said, well, and I told her all about it. I heard President Roosevelt. That has no bearing on this at all, she said. You're staying in school. You're not going to get out of school until you graduate, and that's it. And I said, Mom, I said, when I'm 17, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. You're not going in. I turned 17. We had a small house party. Mm-hmm. And I went and got the papers. I hid them in the buffet. She told me to throw them away. And I got the papers and I went back in, and my father was there. He was in the 1st Marine Corps, in the Marine Corps, the First World War. He wasn't a good father. He drank all the time and just beat us up, and just a bad guy. But he was there. And of course, once a Marine, always a Marine, no matter what kind of a character you are. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I said, Mom, sign these papers. She says, I thought I told you to throw them away. I hid them in the buffet drawer. And she said, throw them away. I'm not going through this again. I went through one war. I'm not going through this. Throw them away. And my dad said, Vera, listen to me. He said, the boy quit school. He's doing odd jobs. He'll probably turn out to be a bum. And I went like this to my mother. She said, give me the papers. I gave her the papers. She signed them. I ran out the back door right downtown again.
So what year did you actually get inducted?
1942.
42. So you went to boot camp. You're a Hollywood Marine?
Yep. Let's see. What was that? August 17th, 1942.
So 8 weeks back then, right?
8 weeks then.
8 weeks.
Yeah, they run us right through. Yeah. That place was so jammed you couldn't walk across that place. You couldn't get across it. No.
And what was your first MOS? What did you do?
What? Pardon?
Infantry guy or?
Oh, all infantry. That's the only way to go.
By the way, what you guys can't see, but I have a buddy of mine, Mike Cousins, who is a Navy A6 pilot sitting directly across from us. So if you wonder who I'm getting reaction from, it's my awesome buddy. Anyway, you were an infantry, and then you ended up being a flamethrower, right?
Yeah.
Or how did you get that?
I was in a we formed a squad, assault squad, and we had a bazooka, we had a flamethrower, and 2 or 3 riflemen, and demolition, and that's what we did. Burned them out, blew them up, closed them up, and then took off. That's what we did with our company. Well, we had this party, and she signed it. My dad signed it. I ran back to him. I ran up on the 4th floor again, and he met me. He says, "How did you do?" I said, "Here they are." He said, "Good." Then he said, "Now look at young man. See that doorway over there?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're going to go in that door, and you're going to meet a medical doctor. He's a Navy officer. And he said, he's going to give you a physical that you will never forget. You want to do that? I said, yes, sir. I went in that room. I'll never forget that physical. And I passed. Came out. All right. He said, I'll tell you what you do. You go home and tell your mother and father in 2 weeks, I will give you a call and they're to bring you down to the train station. And we'll have a ceremony, load up on trains and take off for San Diego boot camp. I said, yes, sir. Went home, got the call in 2 weeks. Took off, and it was funny because there were 13 of us kids, and we were lined up at this train station where visitors stood. And all of our families were in the back. And we did pledge allegiance. We swore an oath. Never forget it. And all of a sudden, he said, I want you to stand at attention. And I know you don't know what that means. He said, I want you to snap to and stand at attention. We knew we had some Boy Scout experience. We stood right there, stiffened right up. He said, I want you to go to your parents, your family, and I want you to say goodbye and come back here in 3.5 minutes. We took off, came back, stood in formation. And he started talking to us. I leaned next to a kid next to me. We went to school together. He was killed on Iwo. And I said to him, I don't know what happened, but this sergeant was a good guy when I first met him. He's not so dang nice right now. He said, of course he is. He's got you now. He said, well, we took off for San Diego, went through 8 weeks of boot camp training. I don't know why those DI sergeants were so doggone mad. They were all mad.
Yeah, I bet they were mad.
And here we are, Chicago and Detroit kids, and who's our DI? A dang Texan. And he just about beat the daylights out of us. He took us the first morning down to the boondocks. That's where they make the planes and run them out of there, And he said, fellas, I want you to look over at those docks. You see those transports? We said, yes, sir. He said, I have to teach you what to do, what to expect until you get further training to get you on those ships. I hope you make it. I doubt some of you will do it. Boy, he just cut us down. And he was the best drill instructor anyone could have ever had, because we became the honor platoon of those 8 weeks. I mean, we snapped to. He didn't mix any words at all. It was great.
Now, do you think he had combat experience?
No, he had fruit salad on his chest here, all over, and never saw combat yet. Well, Guadalcanal was the only thing.
Right.
1st Marine Division was, Well, anyway, after that, we got out there and went to New Zealand. And we trained there, knock out enemy tanks. Then all of a sudden, they understood that the tanks weren't any good on the islands. They were being bogged down. And we weren't any good because we had half tracks. The half tracks couldn't get off the beach in the inland. We were having all kinds of trouble. So they disbanded us. They broke up the raiders. They broke up the paratroopers and us. And we were sent back to the States, and we helped form the 5th Marine Division. And then after we formed, we went to Hawaii. And we trained there for 3.5 to 4 months, and then we were ready. And that's when we headed right across seas. We went to an island called New Caledonia. Terrible place. Worse than a prison. It was terrible. Awful. Any officer that did duty on that island was shanghaied there. He was put there. It was terrible.
Would you have the crabs and stuff?
Uh-huh.
Did you have crabs? All those.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. Dirty work and detail.
Yeah.
Detail work.
Yeah.
It was awful. Well, we trained further, and then we were ready, and of course we went to Iwo. And that's another tale, another story. But I had an experience on the beach at Iwo Jima, and I will never forget it. Never. I lay on the beach, flamethrower on my back, soaking wet. I went down up to here. I fell out, rolled over the side, went down the water. Two of my buddies jumped in, grabbed me, picked me up out of the water. We went to the beach, hit the first sand we hit, and the beach was loaded with Marines. We couldn't get off of it. They were coming down on us from Mount Suribachi, 545 feet away. And we couldn't get up. We couldn't move. We were getting killed. I mean, it was just a disaster. For the first time in my life, I prayed to God. I put my face down in the sand and I said, God, if you're real and you can do what people say you can do and you can get me off this island, I'll serve you the rest of my life. He got me off.
Right.
6 weeks later. But he didn't get me until 9 years later, almost to the date. 9 years later. It was the month of May. From March. Well, I went to a Billy Graham meeting after a fishing trip. Fish weren't biting, but the battle bass were good.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't in good shape at all. And I was laying on the couch. Phone rang. A dear couple called up. They were so good to us. Danish from Copenhagen. And they were so good to us. They used to be our landlords. And my wife and I were ready for a separation. We weren't making it. We weren't making it at all. And it was mostly my fault.
So the PTSD, from the experience on Iwo Jima was causing your issues?
Oh, I think so. I couldn't settle down. I had 4 or 5 jobs working in the factory. You could get a job anytime you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was opening up after the war, you know. I mean, you just go from one job to another. That's what we did. We just got bored. Then we wind up in a tavern, drink beer. That's what we do.
Well, did you find that you gravitated towards other Marines who shared the experience with you?
Yeah, I did. Because there were about 6 of us that were discharged and came home.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then we'd get on the phone and get together. But all we do is sit there and cry and have a toast for this buddy and that buddy. We lost 7,000 of our buddies on the island.
Mm-hmm.
7,000, 20,000 shot up and wounded and taken off the island. I mean, we went to school, some of them, in Detroit. And we never should have done it, but that's what we did. And it took a good few years to get squared away. But I met this young gal, got married. I didn't deserve her. She married me too quick herself because she should have, she had no help from her parents. Here's a young fellow out of the Marine Corps. He's wild. He can't settle down. You'll never make it with him. So we were ready for divorce. Well, anyway, this couple knew this. He got on the phone and asked for me, and my wife gave me the phone, and I wasn't in good mood at all. And I said, hello. He said, Donald. He said, this is Peter Beal. I said, yes, sir. I respected him. He said, I'm going to talk to you. I don't want you to say one word to me. I said, yes, sir. He said, you are a mess. You're losing your wife. You're losing your best friends. You're going to lose yourself, and you can't do anything for yourself. I want you to take my wife and I, they're in their 80s. He couldn't drive anymore. I want you to take my wife and I to a Billy Graham meeting at the high school in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, down along the lake shore, Winnebago, Wisconsin. You know what I said? I said, yes, sir. I'll change and we'll be over. I respected him. And God used that. We got changed, went by, picked him up, got in this meeting place, and I was not feeling good. We sat up in the front row, and there is the stage, and there is the big screen, and on comes Oil Town, USA, Billy Graham film. And it was about Houston when they had that big fire, the explosion back in the 50s. That's what it was about. He went down there and held a campaign. Great movie. Billy came on. And I never spent much time in church. I sat there and I didn't even want to watch it. I didn't want to watch it. And all of a sudden, Billy came on. He said, "You are not your own, you're bought with a price. And that price was Jesus Christ at Calvary. He died for you. He paid for the sins of the whole world. What are you going to do with Christ? You're going to die yourself. You need him now. You need him tonight. Tonight you come." And Billy went on with the film. The film ended later on. 3 ministers got up on the platform, and I'm sitting there, and I am feeling guilty. I remember my pledge on the beach, and I'm trying to hide from God, and I can't hide. I'm a mess. Everything came before me. I was a mess. And I slid off the chair on the floor, and I cried like a baby. I just broke down. Then they gave an invitation to come forward for Christ. And I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And he said, "We're going to sing a song of invitation, and when we're through, we're going to send you."
You know what? I wanted to bring back to Iwo Jima to talk about, that was something that changed you on the beach. But some of the things that you saw on Iwo Jima, could you describe those to us?
Oh, sure. Well, going back on Iwo Jima, it was a different kind of a battle. There were no jungles, flat, hilly and flat, sand, volcanic ash, that's all. Our Air Force, our Air Corps, obliterated any vegetation. It was gone. Nothing but sand. So they could see us and we could see them. So it was a cat and mouse deal. So we headed up from the beach. Now it's 545 feet from the top of the beach to the base of Mount Suribachi. We got there in 3 days. 3 days. We had hand grenade fights trying to go up the side of it. But over to the left, they seemed to be in better shape. And that's where Lieutenant Schreier took a flag from our battalion commander, Chandler Johnson, and put that flag up. He said, "Get some boys together when you get up there." He said, "Harold, and put this flag up for me." So he got up there. We're fighting this way, going up. They're throwing grenades. We're trying to throw them back. We can't. They rolled back. So we didn't do that anymore. We couldn't throw ours too far up either. Ours had some weight to it.
Yeah.
With 52 fragments on it. And so, I mean, it was a cat and mouse thing. And later on in the afternoon, we kind of worked our way up. And as we got to the crest, there goes the flag.
So you were up there?
Oh, yeah.
You were able to see the first flag raising?
Oh, yeah. You could see it. You could see it. They finally got it up like that. And the first thing we said was, I think, we didn't know anything about it. Where'd they get the mast? Where'd they get the pipe? I don't know how they did. Where'd they get the rope or whatever they tied it on? It might have taken their shoelaces. I don't know. But anyway, the pipe was drain pipe laying on top of Suribachi that they would use to catch rain. And run. See, there were caves down below. And so there it was waving. It was a beautiful sight. Oh, everybody on the island that could round off a tracer or rockets, it went up on there. 500 Navy ships in the bay let go. Everything they could that let go with fire and flames, you know. It was something. But all it did was infuriate the Japanese all the more. We put a flag on Japanese soil for the first time in history. And we didn't plan on that flag. Our battalion commander had that in mind. And now get this, the second flag. regimental commander, Harry the Horse Liversedge, had a bigger flag. And he got Rene Gagnon, one of the three.
Mhm.
He said, Harold, he said, Rene, take this flag to Johnson. Tell him I want his down and mine up. Lieutenant commander. Well, lieutenant colonel. And he said, yes, sir. So he ran all the way to Johnson. You know, after the battle, we were aboard a transport going back to Hawaii. And Rene Gagnon's there. And I was someplace, I don't know where he was at. Bradley's in the hospital. They flew him to a medical. And Rene Gagnon's running off at the mouth. So I said, Rene, how the heck did you get in that flag when you're regimental back at the regiment? He said, well, that flag came from my regimental commander, Liversedge. Oh, it did? Yes. Well, I said, how did you get in the picture? He says, I gave Lieutenant Schreier and I held on to the damn thing. And he says, I never let go. But he was an operator. He was a playboy. Yeah.
Well, I met Charles Lindbergh when I was at Iwo Jima.
Charles Lindbergh, yeah. It wasn't Bradley. It was Lindbergh that was in on the second flag there.
No, Lindbergh was on the first one.
Wait a minute. Let's see.
Yeah, so Charles
Boy,
Lindbergh.
there's so much.
Yeah, Charles Lindbergh was on the first flag raising. I met him at the 50th anniversary. And the amazing thing about that was, you know, so they did the first flag.
Yeah.
And then the second flag, when they brought that second one up, they basically had two poles. And so they had
one was the same pole.
No, they had one pole that was up erect with the flag. And then they took the second one at the same time and they went like that. So when you see the flag raising in the Iwo Jima right behind us, you can see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So as these guys were raising this, the other flag over here was being brought down. And what happened?
Yeah, but no, they had to strip it because they had to use the same ties in that.
No, I've seen the photo or the movie. They had a movie, and it shows the guys bring it down, the other one's raising it up.
I haven't seen that.
They
saw still like. But
well, that was the whole thing behind the photograph. Was he said, did you pose those guys for the photograph? And he said yes, that was a pose, but it was all the guys that were up there that had gotten a I Love Me shot. Not talking about that one. Yeah. And then the interesting behind the Marine Corps history was we needed that for the 7th bond drive. They wanted to use that photograph.
Oh yeah, they did.
And
they beat Carol Lombard out. She was tops in raising money. Then she went down.
Well, they wanted to use that photograph, and AP said, "Sure, yeah. Marine Corps, give us $1 million. We'll let you have the rights to that photograph." And they said, "Time out, man. We're almost broke here. We need it." And they said $1 million. So then they took a break. And
well, the interesting thing about that, what he's saying, is that I don't know if he was a senator in charge of that bond tour. Ira mentioned the second flag, the first flag raising, or I don't know which one. And this politician said, "Well, wait a minute. Are you telling me there was 2 flag raisings?" He did not know that. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Yes." And he went, "That's not to be mentioned. Did you see Flags of Our Fathers?"
Yeah.
Or do you hear what he said?
Yeah.
He said, "This is not to be mentioned." That's what he said.
And that's what was so bad for Charles Lindbergh, because he would tell his kids, he told his kids for years, I raised the flag on Iwo Jima, the first one. And the Marine Corps only acknowledged the second flag raising until the 70s.
He kept pretty quiet, Lindbergh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Until about the 70s, they acknowledged it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, but you know.
Did you ever get down inside of the caves?
Where?
Did you ever get into the caves going after the
No, Japanese? I never went, not with a flamethrower. I wasn't going to let them get their hands on that thing.
Yeah.
No, I know Woody Williams says that he went in the caves. I said, "Woody, you're too smart for that. They grab you so dang quick and kill you and take that flamethrower and turn it on us."
Well, how long would it last?
15. If you held that trigger back steady,
Yeah.
15 seconds, you're empty with 5 gallons of fuel.
So
you
how would
go
they
in
refuel?
first.
How would they refuel you?
Huh?
How did they refuel that
Oh,
pack?
they come up, pick it up in a Jeep or something, take it back down, and give us a refueled one, brought it back to us. But what he says that he took his back himself. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have made it. There's no way I would have made it.
Yeah.
No. Well, anyway, yeah. So, I was in Washington 2 years ago, and the 5th Marine Division, and we had a symposium after we left Washington, the capital, and they had 2 politicians there that are going to talk to us about the flag. We are all sick and fed up on the flag. I mean, too much stuff has gone on with the flag. It's a beautiful thing, and let it go at that. And I'm sitting next to Laura Leopard. Now, Laura Leopard, you know who Laura formed the Daughters of World War II. Tom Leopard's wife, the mayor of Dallas at one time. And so she's looking at me like this while they're talking, and she goes like this. And I said, sure. She got up and walked to the middle of the floor, said, sirs, why don't we hear some of this from the horse's mouth? And they said, well, who do you have? I says, Mr. Graves here. So I got up. They invited me to the floor, and all my buddies were there. Now you have to understand that some of our buddies were not on Suribachi. I mean, I was the only one there that was on Suribachi. They're gone. But these guys had fought on Iwo. So I got up and I told what I knew. And I said, now I want to say something. Anybody that fought on Iwo Jima at that time, and that goes for the Navy in the Bay, put that flag up. And they all stood up and applauded. The 2 politicians packed up and left.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, that's one of the things I miss is having the freedom flights and the Soaring Valor, taking the World War II vets up to DC and what we were doing.
Yes, yeah.
Did you ever make it on one of those flights? Did you ever make it on a
I went
flight
on
up
one
to
of
DC?
those. Was Lisa Arby. She formed the not the honor flight. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, and we went with her. We filled a big plane, and they had a volunteer pilot. And we took off, but we only spent 1 day there, and it was so hot. If we could have stayed over, it would have been beautiful. But we didn't get to see the Korean one. I wanted to see the Korean one. It wasn't open at the time. Yeah. But it was hot. It was really hot. And so, but anyway, we did have a good trip there, and we went through it. We met the senator. What's his name? Doyle. Dole. And he was not good. He was failing very badly then. Yeah.
Well, I got a question for you.
Yes.
What is your secret for being so sharp-minded and good-looking at 95 years old?
I don't know. To tell you the truth, I think I take after my mother.
A little fighting Irish loss, huh?
That Irish Spitfire attitude. You've got to have that. And you've got to use the shillelagh.
I mean, you just drove out and got some coffee before this on your own. You drive around, do stuff. 95 years old, still sharp as a tack.
I am, and I'm thankful.
Still,
did I have my surgery when we met?
No, you just had that recently.
Well, it's all healed. You got a new hip.
Yeah, and you had a torn muscle from dipping the young lady at the Marine Corps
still
birthday
working
ball.
on it.
Yeah,
we're still working on it. Yeah, we are. But you know, on Iwo, there were just a few things that I'll cite that talks of the tragedy of war. We're sitting in a foxhole, 3 of us, squad leaders, no squad. We're down. Hill 362A took care of us. Blew our battalion all apart. Well, we're sitting in a hole. My radio goes off. Graves, I said, Joe, be on the lookout for snipers. I said, we don't have any sniper problem. We're sitting here in our hole, but we don't have any problem. And this is about a week more to go on the island. We're down there. We've got them pushed down near the water.
And have you been wounded yet?
No, no.
Did you get a Purple Heart?
No.
You made it off the island
I
6
made it
weeks
off
and
that
didn't get a scratch.
without a scratch. Wow, I did. Well, let me tell you about that. So we're sitting there. And he said, be on the lookout. And I said, well, I'll look. So I got up on the island, up on the ground, and I'm looking like this. Any sniper could have nailed me. Mm-hmm. But we didn't care. We just didn't care anymore. And I'm looking like this, got back down, got on the radio, and I said, negative. I said, this is Graves. There are no snipers to be seen, but I'll keep an eye out there. Okay, by the way, you got a kid coming for a replacement. He'll be there in 10 minutes. But I said, 10-4, we can use him. 10 minutes later, a young fellow crawls in the hole. Who's Graves? I said, I am. What do you want me to do? I said, sit down over there. We have a lot to do tonight. And he sat there. And finally, they got on the radio again and said their first sergeant took a round in his leg, that the snipers got them pretty well figured out. So I said, well, I guess I got to get up and try and find that guy. He said, Graves, let me take it. Give me your glasses. I'll take it. I said, no, you get yourself shot. My other two buddies says, he's here for that. Give him the glasses. So I threw the glasses at him. He got right up there next to me, right where I had been. And this is where God comes in. We were talking, shooting the breeze like Marines do. He fell back. Helmet fell off and spun right between my feet. I grabbed the helmet. There was a picture caught in the bottom of it. I looked at that picture, and there was a beautiful girl sitting in a chair with a beautiful baby in her lap. I lost it. I completely lost it. I jumped up, threw everything off me, cussed the Marine Corps, cussed the island. And you know what I said? And cursed God. Never thinking about that pledge on the beach. I never forgot about that. One of my buddies got up, slapped me in the face, and threw me on the ground. I lay there just laughing. I don't know what. It was crazy. It was just crazy. So
lost it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so. But we got our stuff. I got my stuff back on, and we got on the walkie-talkie and told them we're going to another hole. We have to get out of there. Send some stretcher barriers. We got a kid that's got killed here. So we went to another hole, and it was funny. I said to my two buddies, we were just kids. Mm-hmm. We never drank coffee. We drank beer. In those days, you could do it. You can't do it now. You got to be 21. Mm-hmm. Well, I sat there and I said, I'm going to make some hot chocolate. They said, well, make it up for the three of us. I said, okay, so I did. I used my liner, my canteen cup. I made a nice batch of hot chocolate. Put demolition C2 underneath. It just burns beautiful. Oh, a nice fire. And it's just smelling nice. But I failed to realize that odor travels. Then all of a sudden I heard, hey, Marine, very good chocolato. You bring chocolato here. I said, if you want chocolate, you come here and get his order. You bring here. We often laughed about that one.
Did you ever have to face any bonsai charges?
Oh, every night. And they'd get a few of us, and it was nothing to knock down 300-400 of them. At 22,000, we killed every one of them except 200. Killed them. In the morning, it was a disaster. You had to go out and check them. Right. It was just terrible. So some of them had just a kerchief around them, that whatever you call that band. You use it for a bandana. You use it for everything. They had it wrapped around them. They had no clothes. It was sad. Just sad.
So the stench of the
Oh,
bodies
yeah.
must have
Oh,
been
it was
horrendous.
awful. It was awful. Yeah.
Did you guys have any Marine canines out there assisting you to let you sleep so dogs would smell or hear the guys coming?
No, we didn't have any sleep. We didn't have any sleep. You couldn't go to sleep. They'd come during the night. They come sneaking in at you. I had a Japanese come at me with a satchel bag on him during the night, circulating like that, dropping hand grenades. And he came up to me, and I had a 45 because, see, I had the flamethrower.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hit nothing with that thing. And I had that 45, and someone said, "Graves, coming your way." I said, I see him. And he come up, and he's mumbling Japanese, and he's dropping, but before he could drop them at me, I bang, 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 bang. I emptied every round in that clip.
Mm-hmm.
And he jerk. And kept going.
Really? After getting
Kept
hit by a
going.
45?
And I said, "He's coming your way." He says, "My gosh, all that shooting, didn't you kill him?" And I said, "He's coming your way." And they got him.
Mm.
It was something, I'm telling you. It was just, you could shoot him, they'd get up and keep going. I don't know whether it was, they were on something.
Yeah.
And they drank a lot of sake. There were sake bottles in all those caves.
Mm-hmm.
They knew they weren't coming off that dang island, so they're going to just do what they wanted to do. That was it, Yeah, it was really sad. A lot of things happened at night. They call our name. That's why when you yell for someone, don't call him by his name. Just state the situation,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll call back. "Hey, Pete, help me. Oh, jeez. It was something. Well, anyway, here I'll wind it up.
No, I got a question for Dave
Well,
Thomas.
on Iwo.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'll finish on this.
All right.
All right. This is important.
Okay.
We get where we're going to be released. The 6th week. We got released one by one by the 3rd Division, Woody's division.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked down to the beach. 18 of us out of 335 in my company.
Really?
No officers. Wow. 3. Can you imagine?
18 out of 335.
That's what Hill 362A did to us. Shot the blazes out of us.
Where was that located on Iwo Jima?
It's right. Well, here's.
Here.
Well, give me that. I'll show you right where it's at. It'll probably state so. All right. Hill 362A is right about there. Right in there.
Okay. Let me show everybody.
362A.
So, folks, this is a map of Iwo Jima that I had the returning vets sign at the 50th anniversary. So he's showing Hill 362A is right here at the base of Mount Suribachi. This is Mount Suribachi to give you an overview of this pork chop island.
Yeah.
There were 2 airfields here and here.
Yeah. We stayed right on the left half, clear to the north, the 4th in the middle, 3rd Division here.
So you guys came up this way?
Yeah, right
That's
up around the left side. That's what we had to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But can you imagine? We walked down there, 18 of us. We had one executive officer, Armstrong. That's all we had. He was in Company CP.
Mm-hmm.
But we walked down there, and the old man met us, Harry Liversidge. And he said, "Men, I want you to form a line and go through that cemetery, our 5th." And it was at the base of Suribachi, but it's gone. I mean, they made us take them all out. It's all gone. There's no flag or anything. And well, so we formed up and we went through the gate. And I noticed as we went through the gate, every Marine stood reading something on the left side of the arch.
Mm-hmm.
It was tacked there. Well, when I got there, I read this. I got a hunch it was a CB.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it said. "Fellas, when you go home, tell the folks we did our best, that they may have many more tomorrows." I tell high school kids that story. And some of them break down crying. Some of them, it doesn't matter. I've had young people come down from the balcony and from the seats and say, "Mr. Graves, thank you so much for that."
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. We went through there and saw our buddies' names. Orville Carabue, went to school with him. It was terrible. My squad leader. Yeah, that's the way it was.
Do you know if they moved? Because I don't remember we gave the island back in '72, but I don't remember a graveyard. So they must have.
They took that out.
Everybody out.
They had
put them in Arlington or someplace.
Well, what they could. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a question from Dave Thomas. He says, Don, if you were to do anything different from the time you joined until the time you were out, would you? Would you go the same route?
I would do the same thing again if I could.
Same
thing.
Outstanding.
That's what we trained for. That's what the Marine Corps trained for. They trained you to kill. And that's what they told us in boot camp. When I get through with you, it's not going to be anything for you to take your rifle and your bayonet and stick a Jap in the belly. And if you can't get it out, twist it and pull the trigger. That's tough talk for a kid. That's tough talk.
So how old were you when you hit
17? Oh, when I hit the beach?
When you hit the beach,
oh,
I
was oh boy.
So
40, I was 18 going, I was almost going, geez, I couldn't.
Let's see, 42. Yeah, 42 you joined.
Yeah, I'm going on
You were
19.
about 18. That was 42, 43, 44, 45. Now you're almost 20. You're a corporal.
Yeah.
You're almost 20 years old because if you were 18.
I got out at 20. January 12th, 1946. Yeah.
Okay.
So somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But I'll never forget that experience of the cemetery. And you know, it's a sad thing when you go back on that island and there is no cemetery.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't have given it back to the Japanese in '72. I don't agree with Nixon's decision.
Well, it's their land. It's their land. It's prefixture. You know, it's Japanese soil.
Yeah, but we paid it.
That flag should still be up there.
Yeah.
That flag should be with them upstairs. There's two of them. There's a Japanese flag, beautiful brass poles, and then a ball. Nothing.
Now, did you make it over? Did you make it over to go back and visit?
Oh yeah, I was there 3 years ago.
And how was that?
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, how was that emotionally for you? To be able to, did it trigger anything?
Well, you know what happened. Laura Leopard, she played this right. She was at the window, and I'm over here. Fisk is on my right, and she said, "Don, do you want to sit by the window?" And I said, "Sure." She got up and she had her camera, and she got over like that. Fisk gets up, he sits across the way, so she can sit a little ways away. And she's got the camera like this, and here we are coming like that, and I looked out, and here comes Suribachi. And then the beach, Green Beach one, right there next to Suribachi. When I saw that, everything came back. I could hear the rounds going off. I could hear the yelling, scream. Everything came back to me. Everything. And then he went around it. He drove around. He flew around it for us, and then kept up going to Guam. That's where we stayed.
Now, was this on with Rick, Governor Perry, Governor Perry's jet, or who flew you out there? Was it Ross Perot Jr. that took you guys out there?
Oh no! That was Daughters of World War II. Laura Leopard and her group. Yeah, but geez, there was only two of us. You know, I mean, really. Fisk was in the Air Force, but he wanted to go along with us. So Bill Schott and I. That's it. Just the two of us could go. Yeah. But it was a disappointing trip because, you know, we left that island with just sand and everything. Now there's all green jungle. You can't see where you were. You can't see.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Were you able to retrace any of your steps from the start up?
Yeah, I did up on Suribachi. Yes. Yeah. I did, up on the crest where I sat and stood guard all night there. I sat in a hole all night. Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Man.
and you can, when you're sitting, you can still hear it. You can hear everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Did you see those concrete ships up on the side of the island? They were like concrete ships that had washed ashore. Did you get to drive around the island at all?
No, I didn't. No, we did. We never saw the other side.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and we couldn't come in that side because of rocks.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Yes.
I think that's all the questions we have, and just want to thank you folks for joining us today on Tacos Tall Tales on Tuesday. And I want to thank Don for hanging out with us this morning. Don, is there anything you want to do? Do you want to sing a song?
I'll sing a song that Kate Smith made famous.
Which one's that?
God Bless America.
Oh, I'm gonna have to stand up
She
outside of this.
She came to. Well, let me just tell you what brought this song about. Irving Berlin. Kate went to Irving Berlin. She said, Irving, the American people are ready for another patriotic song. He said, I'll see what I've got. He found this song. He said he had it in his file for 20 years.
Wow.
Took the war to do it. And so Kate introduced that song. And if anybody wants to hear Kate Smith sing that song, beautiful. Get on the internet and just punch Kate Smith and she'll start singing. And she hits notes that are unbelievable.
Well, let's hear you sing.
Right.
We're standing for you, and you just go ahead and sing.
All right, here we go. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Right. Outstanding. You know, down by the old, not the new, but the old, not a river, but a stream.
Where I first
not the second, but the first.
you.
Not the second, but
With your eyes so blue.
You were
My mother and dad used to
16,
sing
not
that.
60, but 16. The village queen, not the king, but the queen.
They jazzed it up after. Another one they used to sing was Sierra Sue, I love you only. Sierra Sue, now don't be blue. Baby, sing that. Ba-ba-ba-ba-boo.
Who was your favorite artist back in 1944, 45?
Favorite singer?
Yeah, favorite singer.
Always Nelson Eddy, Jeanette MacDonald. Always Nelson. He's the one that started me singing at 10 years old.
Really?
Wow. Nelson Eddy, baritone. You've seen Eddie.
Actually, I haven't. I have to look him
Oh
up.
my gosh. Oh, some of the great, they were the sweethearts of musicals. Yep. You could always tell Eddie, tramp, tramp, tramp along the highway. Tramp, tramp, tramp the road free. Oh, soldiers are we, Captain Dick's old infantry.
Now, do you have any funny stories? I mean, we tend to forget a lot of the bad stuff, but we always remember sort of the funny stories that we have with our friends in the service. Do you have a kind of like that chocolate story? Do you have anything else that sticks in your mind as something that was sort of funny for
combat,
you?
that was well, yes, that was, you can. Well, I don't know if it's funny or not, but some of the guys laughed at. But that was war.
No, go ahead.
It was all quiet. It was a beautiful night on Iwo. We were halfway through the battle, and we were in the hole. And of course, I carried a 45, and the other guys had M1s, you know. And we were sitting in that hole there looking, and across, it was quiet. It was a beautiful moonlit, and it was beautiful. And we had flares. They'd always have flares coming down at night because they'd come at us, you know. I looked across. I would say from here to that house over across the street, right there, about that distance. It is quiet. You could hear a whisper, and we're just like this. Out of a cave comes two Japanese in their little sarong, whatever you call it. And the one has got a big jug of sake. The other was drunker than a hoot owl. And they were staggering. And they're standing there looking at us and pointing like that, you know. And we were saying, they're crazy. No, the other guys, no, they're drunk. And I said, oh my gosh, look at it. And they're standing there going, yeah, come on, yeah. Oh, yeah, like that. And I said, I'll drop the one on the left. They said, you never hit him. I said, you bet. I said, let me have your M1. So I took the M1. I sighted in 6 o'clock. Bam! Hit him in the leg and he went down. The other guy had the bottle and holding on to him. And he's on the ground on one knee, and he's going, oh, yeah. And the other one's, oh, and they got something going. And we started laughing on the line. Some of our buddies, you couldn't help but laugh. It was sad, but it was. So my one other buddy says, finish him off.
But don't hit the bottle. We want the bottle.
Yeah, later on, I said, you know what I said? I can't hit him. I can't do it. If they come at me, I will, but I can't do it. He said, give me that. And he finished him off. Yeah. It was sad. And you know, they were kids, just like we were. Young teens. Yep.
What do you think about what's going on nowadays with the young people fighting the police in the streets, thinking that's tough? I mean, you put your life on the line.
These are college kids. These are loafers. These are college kids. They carry their bags, see their knapsacks on their back. They carry everything with them. They're college kids, the kind of college kids that are a bunch of goof-offs. And we're paying for some of that. And this is what they want to do. And they learn to do it from the professors in the college. They teach them to do this. And that's why they do it. It's just like us during the war. We're taught and drilled to kill the Japanese army. And we were ready to kill them because only teenagers will do it. You get a married man and he's going to think twice. Older men do not fight a war. They can't do it. They can't.
Yeah,
they know too much. We don't. We do what we're told to do. You know, we want the glory. Yeah.
Well, if you want to pass off any words of wisdom to the future generations that
watch the future generation.
What do you say about joining the Marine Corps, or do you want a soft life and join the Air Force?
I think this. Today, with what industry has to offer, the way things are going in our country, I think the greatest thing that a young man can do, anywhere from 17 up to 20, 21 years old, is to join the Marine Corps, join the military, if that's what you want to do, but I prefer the Marine Corps, to learn to defend our country and protect our Constitution and everything we hold dear. And that's what Marines do. That's what they're taught in boot camp to do. And you become an American. You understand more about being an American. I had a young man come up to me one day after high school over in Grapevine. He said to me, he said, Mr. Graves, you said that you joined the Marine Corps at 17. I said, yes, sir. He says, how could you do that? I said, we were at war. Don't you understand that? Wouldn't you? I don't know. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible. Where was the father? Something's wrong. These kids have broken homes. They have no father. I would have spoke to a grade school over here at one of the small farm towns here. Paul and I, my booking agent. And I spoke to these kids. And when we were through, we were packing up to leave. 2 girls and a boy came by us and stood there. And I said to them, I said, can we help you young people something? He said, we were ordered to help you. Well, I said, talk to Paul. He's the one that's doing this. So Paul looked at me and I winked like that. He said, tell you what, you can carry this young lady, you can take that one and take it out the car with us. Okay, so we did. We headed down the hall, went to the front door. And when we got to the front door, the oldest girl stood there crying. And I said, young lady, why are you crying? She said, because you're leaving. What does that tell you? She's lacking a father. We went to a science class to get a phone number. And I told the teacher. And after I got through telling her, 2 girls come around the front of us. One was crying. And I said, what's the problem, young lady? She said, you're leaving us. And she said, Don, they don't have a father at home. You become a father image to them. Isn't that something?
Mm.
And that's what young people go through today.
Yep.
My 2 boys came home from school, every day from school. And when they came to the house and came in the kitchen door, they said, Ma. And she said, yeah, I'm home. Okay, I'm going to go out and play. Okay, supper at 5 o'clock. Now, they didn't go see her, but she was there. Their mother was there. Well, girls need a father. They need a father, and they don't have one.
Right. Well, Don, we're going to end this with you were not on Iwo Jima for the 50th anniversary, but I would like to have you sign this for me. It is all the vets who attended, but I would still like to have your signature on here wherever you want to sign.
Right. Let's see. Let's put it right over here. How about right here?
Sure. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
All
Don.
right, you're welcome. Look at the names on that thing.
Yep, that's all the vets that were able to make it back. I have Woody Williams right up at the top here, Medal of Honor recipient.
He takes a lot of room.
Yeah.
Look at that picture.
I gave him the top.
Clear across the bottom of the picture, there's no room for me to sign.
Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. I am going ahead and end this broadcast. It was 1 hour. Big round of applause for Don Graves sitting next to me. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Semper Fidelis.
And of course, Mike Cousins here. Can we see you? There, you're in the light. There. All right.
It makes me look good.
All right, man. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday. Yeah, we're going to have